it is a wrong understanding that enlightened people do not have a mind. They have a mind. The mind is a tool, and they know that I can use this tool when I need it. I am the master of the mind, not the slave of the mind. Got it? It does not mean that they do not have a mind. So you think the gurus and the saints and sages of yesteryears and the people who have reached that stage are mindless? No. It is just that they are not the slaves of their minds. Got it? Their mind is their tool. They now know how to use the mind. Lot of people think I am the soul. So there are a lot of people or a lot of even paths that advocate that you are the soul. But this is a misunderstanding. According to Advaita, there cannot be an individual soul and there is just one simple blanket of Brahman. Everything is Brahman. There is no Purusha and Prakriti. There is no duality. Everything is non-dual. There is no two. So there is no individual consciousness. So Chitta Chaya is a wrong understanding if people have translated it as the soul or the Atma. We cannot experience the pure Brahman or the pure consciousness. It is not possible. Yes, that highest, supreme truth will always be hidden from this body-mind complex, even when this body-mind complex is fully enlightened. Do you understand? My body-mind complex can understand the world, can understand everything only through the five senses of sight, sound, smell, taste and touch. And through thought of sight, sound, smell, taste and touch. This body-mind complex can understand the inner world by understanding the reflection of the consciousness in the form of energy. It can experience the energy, but it cannot see it. Do you understand that? That's why you experience the knower, but if you try to look inside, you can't see it. Yes, the knower cannot see itself, but it knows itself. Clear? You can know yourself, but you cannot see yourself. Yeah? And the people who claim that they see white light and yellow light and that white light or yellow light is my soul, they are mistaken. Yeah? They are caught up in some illusion of the mind. You cannot know if another person is enlightened or not. You can figure out for yourself. Vinila can know about herself. Why do you want to judge others? Let them be what they want to be.
Even about me, how do I know that I am enlightened?
When you
Completely.
Yeah, when you can very clearly know the knower. That's why I say know the knower, be the knower. I never say see the knower. There's a difference between the two. Yes, you can be the knowingness and you can experience that this knowingness is in this so-called apparent world of matter, which is not really matter. It's just appearing as if it is matter. If you've done Ashtavakra Gita, in Ashtavakra Gita he gives the example that there is a rope lying in the dark and the person who is walking from the forest, he thinks it is a snake. Now, when he goes closer to it, he realizes, no, this is not a snake. This is just a rope. Now, is it that the snake transformed to a rope? No. From the beginning, there was no snake. Is this clear? This means that from the beginning, there is no division of Purusha and Prakriti. There is no division of energy and matter. From the beginning, it is only the consciousness or energy. From the beginning, it is only awareness. Now, this knowingness or awareness or consciousness got lost in the mind and drama of the mind. When Vinila realizes, oh, I am stuck in the story of the ego, I am stuck in the story of the mind, and Vinila withdraws herself and recognizes, I am this knower. Because this knower is always there when there is a story playing. Whether it's a happy story of Vinila being very successful in work or a sad story of some tragedy in Vinila's life, it doesn't matter what the story is, there is always a knower. Correct? So whatever the story is, irrespective of the story, there is always a knower. This knower knows this. And when Vinila recognizes, I am not the one who's lost in this story, but I am the one who is the knower and in the background, this loses steam. This loses its power. This gains the power. Then you are constantly in knowingness. When you complete this part, you have completed the first leg of the meditation. Here you start recognizing who is this knower, what is the quality of this knower. And then you recognize, this knower or knowingness is a field. It is not an individual person. It is not a limited field, but it is an infinite field. And now this knower or knowingness, himself or herself, starts exploring this world of matter and recognizes, seeing is not different from knowing. Seeing and knowing are made of the same thing. Touching is not different from knowing. Knowing of touch is the same thing as touching. This knowingness is in everything, in all my activity. Is there an outside of knowing? There is no outside of knowing. It doesn't matter which activity, whether at home or work or with friends in school. It doesn't matter where I am. Every activity is nothing else but the knowingness, the consciousness, the awareness. So it is really that it is a field of awareness or an ocean of awareness in which these objects seemingly come up. They look different. They feel like they have their individual entity, but they are like waves in the ocean. They last a very short while and then they fall back into the ocean after a while. Every object, every person, every situation is temporary. It arises, it stays for a while and it goes away. Nothing is permanent. Yes, this itself becomes very clear to the knowingness that there is nothing else but this ocean of knowingness. And when you know that, you are enlightened. Yes, so you will definitely know. Yes, only you can experience it. Like chocolate ice cream. Only you can experience chocolate ice cream and know whether vanilla likes the flavor of chocolate ice cream or not. Ekta cannot taste chocolate ice cream and tell vanilla you are going to like it. Not necessarily. Correct? Only you can walk your own path to your own enlightenment. No teacher, no guru, not even the power of God can push you onto the path of enlightenment. Not possible. Nobody can bless you with enlightenment. Yes? How many ever prayers you do, you will not get enlightened. Enlightenment is not something that somebody else can gift to you. Enlightenment is something that only you can give yourself. Clear? If there is a dead body in this room, can it perceive?
No,
So
because
then,
the senses are not working.
correct.
The
So,
body cannot perceive.
correct. So
Yeah.
then how are perception and sensation of the body? If perception and sensation were of the body only, then even when the body is dead, it should be able to perceive and sense. But it cannot perceive and sense after death, which means it is not a quality of the body, it is not a nature of the body. You get it? Mind is the one that is looking through those eyes at Ekta.
Yeah.
The mind is seeing. Even though you have eyes, these eyes are just a window to the world. Okay? But
if I close my eyes, then I will not be able to see.
But still, there is a mind that is seeing something inside. You can still see black. In your dreams, okay, forget about waking state. Dreaming state, when you go to sleep, when you're sleeping, then you see all images. Your eyes are closed, but you're seeing. Who is seeing? The basic question, very basic. The mind is the power behind sight. The mind is the one that is actually hearing Ekta's voice right now. Ears are just an instrument through which sound travels. But it is the mind perceiving that data. Do you understand perception now?
The way, like I'm looking at you through my eyes, that is perception.
Yes.
I'm hearing you, that is perception. If I take my mind somewhere else, maybe I'll not be able to hear you. Is that what you mean?
No, where will you take? Even if you take your mind somewhere else and start thinking about what happened yesterday, but there will still be sound, no? So you will be hearing me.
Yeah.
You will be seeing me. So that has got to do with mind's attention. Perception will be there, it will just be blurry perception. Understood? You're not really focusing. That is different. So mind's attention is different from perception.
Mm-hmm.
Clear? The mind is the one that sees through the eyes, that hears through the ears, that tastes through the tongue, that feels through the skin. Yeah? It is the mind that thinks about sight, smell, taste, touch and sound. This is very clear. The faculty of mind is very clear. Yes. Now this mind is perceiving and sensing. If you feel hungry, okay, you feel hungry, the mind knows I am hungry. Correct?
Yes.
Even though the sensation is in the stomach is growling, the mind comes to know that the stomach is growling. So it is a mind phenomena.
Yeah. I think I have got it, but I'm confused with the words.
Acha.
Maybe this is the problem.
So perception is clear now? Perception is clear and sensation is clear. Sensation is clear. Clear? So though they are happening at the body, they are actually mind phenomena. This you will see later in meditation. It might not be very clear right now because it's not something we can understand intellectually. Intellectually, we can know that when I sit and meditate, I might come to a point where the mind slows down so much that even if a perception of a thought suddenly arises after a big silence in the thought activity, and the first thought arises like whatever, the legs are hurting, suppose. The thought comes. Then there is a thought that says, my legs are hurting. The mindness happens later. Yeah? And I should move my leg. So the I joins in later. First there is a sensation. There is a pure sensation happening. And the I-ness or mindness attaches later. Clear? When the fear comes up, at that point, just experience the feeling, the sensation happening inside. Leave all the thought, because thought will only take you into story. Just empty the mind of thought. Just drown yourself in the feeling and sink to the bottom of the feeling. You will come out to that field of knowingness there. Yeah? This is one approach. The other approach, they say, is first go to the knower. I am knowing the feeling. I am separate from the feeling. Do you get it? So Advaita has another deeper way. After separating, now you invite that feeling in. Let it come. Because knowingness is not different than feeling. How can knowing of feeling be different than feeling? Are they happening at different times or in different rooms? They are happening together. Another example is you are seeing me. Is seeing different than knowing of seeing?
No.
It's the same thing. It's happening simultaneously. So knowing and seeing are the same. Knowing and feeling that emotion are the same. Yeah?
Yes.
So there is no need to push away any thought or any feeling or anything actually. You can welcome everything. Everything is welcome into knowingness. As long as I am established in the knowingness. Yeah? And what is the quality of knowingness? It is absolutely free of ups and downs. It is absolutely clearly, crystal clear. Yeah? It does not get touched by raga and dvesha.
Yes.
Yes? So when you invite the feeling in, and suppose it's a burning, fiery feeling, it's there. The knower does not say I like it or I don't like it. The knower is just there. Yes? It's allowing the feeling to be of whatever nature it is. For example, space. The space allows any furniture to be there. It allows any obnoxious person also to come and leave. It allows the worst kind of things. It never says, I don't want garbage and you just give me flowers. The space does not negotiate, correct? That's how the field of knowingness is. The field of knowingness does not negotiate. I don't like this fiery feeling. It just is. And just be with it. Just be with that fiery feeling. When you sink into it and you go to the other side, on the other side it is just knowingness. Knowing and feeling are not different.
Knowing and fear are not different.
Yeah. Yes. It is only the ego, the I thought, that attaches to situations, to people, and weaves its story around it, and then creates all this drama, and then we get lost in the drama, we get consumed in the drama. But we are lost in the drama only till the time we don't recognize, oh, I'm the knower that is there in the background. I'm not this drama in the foreground. I just got consumed for a while. Suddenly you remember who you are, you come there. Again, you're going to get lost because of past habit patterns. It's okay. You accept that I keep getting lost, and it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to take a few repetitions of coming back. A few more repetitions. A few more repetitions. Whichever feeling arises, while being in knowingness, I let it arise. I'm welcoming it. I'm embracing this feeling. Fear, anger, hatred, doesn't matter. Whether it is a fiery feeling or earth-like heavy feeling, or it is a flowing feeling like water, or a restless feeling like air. These are just the elements at play. I'm not going to push anything away, because by pushing away it comes back to me in future. So I welcome it, be with it, just be, go through it. Even if it makes you cry, it's fine. Knowing that the space does not negotiate, the space does not say, I don't want this and I want this. Yes, I am that space, I am that knowingness. And then you yourself observe that feeling. Finally, it will transform into that knowingness if you don't give up. In the end, you will see there is no feeling, there is just knowingness. Your commitment, your intensity of effort, how intense your efforts are, that will determine how far you will go. How authentic you are on this path with yourself. And only Neetu knows how authentic she is. I can show the other worlds, other people in the world that, I'm a great person. See, I'm a spiritual person. But inside I could be a chore. Yeah, a thief. It's pointless. Yeah. I have to be authentic with myself about my path. Get it? It's not about the world. Authenticity with myself and the sincerity of my own efforts. These are the only two things that are required. And you will definitely get there. First, I think there is objects and I am the subject, experiencing the objects of the world. Yeah. And that is why I call this Jagat. I call it world. This world is full of people, situations and things. Yes. So there are objects, and then there is this I, the subject, who is experiencing the world, who is suffering because of these objects. Yeah. Who is also very happy when I get more objects or whatever. Yeah. So I begin with subject object. Then I realize really there is a knower that is the knower of all these objects. And I realize I am the knower. So I have collapsed the distance between object and subject now. Now the subject is aware of itself. The knowingness itself knows itself. The knowingness knows that really what I thought this world was of objects is not really objects. What is it? It is nothing different than knowing. If there is an object, I see the object. If I see the object, I feel it is different from me. But now I've understood that seeing is not different than knowing.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is only knowingness. These objects are just appearances in the blanket of knowingness, or the field of knowingness, or the ocean of knowingness. These objects arise in this ocean of knowingness, they play for a while, and they dissolve into this ocean of knowingness. So really there is only the ocean of knowingness that exists. Objects do not exist. I do not have proof whether this matter exists or not. I only have proof of perception. I can only sense the touch, or I can know my seeing, and if it makes a sound, I can hear the sound. But all this is mind phenomena. Where is it happening? Is it happening outside somewhere in the world? No. The seeing even of that tree which is far away is happening here. Even if the cuckoo is singing over there, where's the hearing happening? Here. How far inside? Is it like one centimeter away from the knower? No, knowing and hearing is the same. Knowing and seeing is the same. Are you seeing this? Really, I do not experience objects. I only experience my own knowingness in the form of hearing, seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, and thinking. Jagat mithya. Therefore, the world is an illusion, or the way I perceive this world, that is an illusion. Is this clear? Yeah, so for that, first you have to understand what is time really and how is time created. Let's start with your own experience of deep sleep. In deep sleep, there is no time. If I ask you, after the dreaming state, you went into deep sleep, do you know how long you were in deep sleep? You will say, no, I don't. I have no idea how long I was in deep sleep. Whether it was 2 minutes or 2 hours or 8 hours, I don't know. Yeah, because in deep sleep, there is no time. Now tell me, why there is no time?
I have no memory of it. The mind is asleep basically, so it's not registering anything. Is that right?
Yeah. So what is time?
So time is a function of. It is an. What's the word? It happens because of the mind. So the mind isn't there. It's an artifact of the mind, basically.
Correct. So actually, time is nothing but one thought after another, one object after another. Because there is a series of objects, it gives me an illusion of time passing by. But when there are no objects, absolutely zero objects, then there is nothing like time. So you see, that is how time is an illusion. The same applies to space. Yeah, time, space are not two separate. If you've read Einstein's theory, they are the same thing. Yes, the same applies to space. Space is also created by distance between two objects. But if there is no experience of objects in the state of deep sleep, there is no space. So there is no time and there is no space. Okay? Now, we understood that it is not that there is a bigger waking state in which there is a dream state, in which there is a smaller deep sleep state. It's exactly the opposite, if you remember. The biggest is the deep sleep state. Within this deep sleep state, the mind arises as a vibration of that knowingness or consciousness. The thought activity begins. Yes? And that thought activity itself gives a rise to a waking reality. We feel that there are objects, but really it is not different from the perceiving happening in the dream state. Right now, you and I could be having this conversation in a dream state. You would feel the same, you would, have the same thoughts. If some feelings come up, say intense feelings come up, you feel the same intense feeling in a dream state as you do in a waking state. So really there's not much of a difference in dream and waking. The only difference is in the mind. The mind is semi-conscious and semi-asleep in the dream state, and the mind is fully awake, fully functional in the waking state. Clear? That's why we experience time and space in dreaming state and in the waking state, but not in the deep sleep state. Clear? So from this, the clarity dawns that really time and space do not exist. That is also creation of the mind. It happened during the dreaming state that it emerged and it became fully functional in the waking state. Every night, this fully functional state reduces to the dreaming state, where it is partly functional, there's partly time, there's partly space, and it's partly not there. And then a point comes where even that comes to a stop, and there is no time, no space. Yeah? So this is how Advaita explains it, that there is no time and no space. It is just my mind phenomena. Yeah? So now what happens when somebody gets enlightened? When somebody gets enlightened, they see this truth, that time and space do not really exist. It is just mind phenomena. So does the enlightened person not go out and do things? No. He is blessed with a body-mind complex. He is blessed with a family or work or whatever he has to do. He continues doing it. But there is a shift in his perspective now. Yeah? First, he used to live the same life as that ego, involved very much in the drama of the mind. But now, he lives his life as the knower of this mind, knower of this waking world. But he's very clear that this is who I am. Yeah, that is the difference. Right now, are you aware?
Yes.
Yeah. What is the meaning of I am aware? What did you have to do to come to this answer? You paused for a moment when I asked you, and something happened inside. What happened? Describe.
It usually seems to be I first become aware of my body and then some sensations, and then I then move to the fact that I'm aware of the sensations in the body, so I'm aware of the awareness itself.
Okay.
So that's my usual steps.
Okay, great. So you're aware of awareness. What is this awareness? Is it different than the knowingness?
No.
It is the same. So awareness is equal to knowingness. So you are the knower. Right now also, there you are looking at me. Yes? Isn't there a knower inside that knows that Varanya is looking at Ekta through those eyes?
Yes.
Yes. So the knower is there right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are already enlightened.
Yeah.
This is Advaita. Advaita says you are already that. You don't have to manufacture it. By spiritual practice, it's not going to get created. It's already there. The sun already exists. It is shining. But why can't I always be the knower? Because I get lost in the ego. I get lost in I like, I dislike, all the drama of the mind. Then I forget I'm the knower. I become the ego. I become this drama and I create this whole scenario here. And then I'm only suffering because of that. And then suddenly you remember Advaita and then you see, oh, I'm not this drama. I'm the knower. There. The ego then deflates like a balloon and you are in the knower.
Makes sense.
So the only practice is withdrawing from this ego again and again, again and again, again and again. That's it. Right now you're talking to me. Isn't that an action?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't the knower still there? The knower knows Varanya is speaking. You could be speaking to an office colleague right now. Okay, you could be speaking to your boss right now about something very important. You are acting in the world, but the knower is always there.
The basis of that action, even now, is still a bit centered around the I and ego and all of that.
Okay, so all I need to do is deflate the I and be knowingly the knowingness. That's all. Nothing else you have to do. There is no major practice in Advaita. Oh my God, I have to do this. I'm going to take 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. You will say, no, 40 years ago also, Ekta had already told me that I am the knower. What did I do for 40 years? Don't waste your 40 years, Advaita says. Advaita says you're already there. Now you have to just give way to this ego's dramas. Not to the actions that you have to do. You have to do. If you're married, you have a family, you have to take care of them. You have a job, you must do what you have to do. Okay? Advaita does not say you have to not do action. Advaita says you must do it. In fact, you take this knowingness out into the world while speaking, while doing actions, while in every activity of the world, see that there is no difference between knowing and seeing that activity. Knowing and hearing. Knowing and touching. Yes, whatever that work is, everything is knowingness itself. It is not different. Yes. If you realize that, oh, I have certain habit patterns that are blocking me from being in this knowingness, then yes, take up stronger vows. You do whatever is required on the path for you to again and again be in knowingness. In Advaita, they never went ahead and laid down rules that do this vow, do that. That was left up to the sadhak to figure out on his own what he needs to do. Yes? But they said that this is a direct path. First you recognize this is my goal, the knower, the knowingness. And when you can very clearly see your goal, then you yourself will start clearing the path so you get there. On the other practices, the yogic practices, they say, no, first you clear yourself, you become clean, you become pure, then it will happen, then it will happen. So it's just building an expectation in the mind, it will happen, it will happen. And so many people just keep practicing and never ever are told that you are the knower. Yeah? So Advaita says it is not fair to hide this from the seeker. He already knows it. You have to just make him aware. And so, he is self-driven then, self-propelled. Clear? And it is the same thing on the Buddha's path. The knowingness, that field is absolutely like deep sleep. Yeah? It's just like darkness. So on the Buddha's path, it is called Shunyata. Yeah? Even on the Buddha's path, you learn it very early on. Yeah, it's not taught very late.
Thank you so much, Ekta ji.